The next generation of champions have risen to the occasion, overcoming the rivals who would cut them short along the way and gave up predictability, stability, and comfort in their own lives in order to risk it all for glory. What am I talking about? Well, of course, I'm talking about the Capcom Pro Tour. That's what we do on this channel. We recap the major CPT events along the season so we can get the picture and the storylines of the players competing around the world to earn their way into Capcom Cup to compete for that $1 million placing at the end of the season. We now have the next event coming up, which is, of course, the CPT Singapore event. But this one is special because every event leading up to this one was a single-person qualifier. They were regular premieres. Even EVO, CPT Singapore, and along with CPT Japan coming up next, are super premier events. These events actually allow 2 players to qualify for this event. So therefore, there's a 100% more incentive for these players to actually show up and travel to these events. And with that incentive laid out, the players came in numbers because this is the most stacked CPT event we've had thus far, aside arguably EVO. But, given the fact that it's in Singapore, much easier for Asian players to travel to it. I mean, just look at this bracket. Compare this to ECT, where I was complaining about the incentives for international players to travel out to these events. It's just not there due to the fact that it's only one player take all, not a point system to incentivize regular travel. Well, the players are out for this one. 2 spots available. Japan is out there. Asia Pacific is out there. Korea, China. Everyone showing up in numbers except for, of course, USA. We had 3 players registered. 2.5 if you want to count Lex these days as being USA because he's competing out of the UK. But unfortunately, only Nephew from the USFA actually showed up to compete in this tournament. And of course, we have Ending Walker and Problem X continuing their world tour to try to qualify for the Capcom Cup. And with how stacked this tournament actually is, you can expect this to translate into early round upsets and early round major hitters. But did you expect something like Zhen versus Fuudo in pools? I don't think I can quite make it clear exactly how stacked these pools were. But Zhen here is going up against Fuudo. Zhen, Capcom Cup 9 final Capcom Cup LCQ winner, 2nd place at that Capcom Cup, running it all the way back in a legendary run. He just recently got 5th place at EVO with his DJ. Was an Esports Cup World Cup qualifier, making it out of groups over Mena RD. And then Fuudo, one of the most legendary Street Fighter players of all time, won CPT World Warrior Regional Finals in the last season. Really high placing at Capcom Cup, consistent results year after year. Somehow, these 2 players are meeting in pools. For some reason, Zhen was seed 89. Of course, there always has to be something a little bit off. I think the seeding was definitely off on Zhen. I don't know why he would be 89th seed after all those placements. Going up against Fuudo here in the winners finals of the pool with M. Bison added to his character roster along with his DJ. Finds the counter hit button into the OD Psycho Crusher to pop the bomb. The big damage is coming here. Plants the bomb here. Fuudo goes for the OD DP to survive the interaction. Gets a head stomp for his troubles and doesn't deal with the bomb take throw situation. And Zhen puts Fuudo in losers in pools. But it doesn't stop there. Every single pool is a bloodbath. Day 1 was ridiculous right off the bat. We also have Tokido up against DCQ in pools. DCQ, 5th place finisher at Capcom Cup last year. Also in the Esports World Cup. Tokido, legendary Street Fighter player, up against DCQ. Another M. Bison here. There might be a common theme with M. Bison really kind of coming into his own. We have 1 throw. We have 2 throw. Tokido trying to make the comeback. DCQ doesn't bite on the throw situation, gets the Crash Fierce, but finds himself back in the corner. Jumps out. Tokido with a slight shimmy going for a Stand Fierce, possible throw bait. It doesn't work out for him. And Tokido is also in losers in pools. But it doesn't stop there. The legends are falling left, right, and center. Another M. Bison doing work. Hot Dog. Another DJ picking up M. Bison. But I mean, Hot Dog, of course, he was originally the M. Bison along with Problem X in Street Fighter V. He won one of the only super premieres that existed back in the Street Fighter V era, the NA Regional Finals Open Bracket in 2019, which was worth a ludicrous amount of money. I think $50,000 and a ton of points at the time. Major accolade to his belt. Up against Sako. Sako rocking Akuma these days. M. Bison Akuma, Team DLC, running things in these major CPT events. Eats a punish counter. Stand heavy, gets the bomb planted. And of course, the classic Bison sequence. The drive rush overhead. You've seen this clip 1,000 times. He's going to burn that OD into the level 2. And it's not even a level 3 conversion. And Sako is out here getting 2-touch by M. Bison. Hot Dog does go on to actually win this set. This is just the first game. But it takes me back, man. I feel bad for poor Sako here. He's such a legendary figure in the fighting game community, known for his excellent execution. It reminds me of Season 2 Balrog, which I was one of the perpetrators here, using super high damage explosive character that did way too much damage, and Bison's kind of doing the same now with these basic B&B combos, liquidating people's life bars, and Sako has to be the victim of it. It's almost ironic in some kind of a way. But we have other upsets that are going on in the pools, including, unfortunately, Problem X, who's been struggling to have a strong CPT performance this year. He actually ends up going to losers and being eliminated early on in pools. Problem X also was eliminated from ECT pools, but this time it's pretty interesting because Problem X actually gets eliminated by Kikuma, who is a strong 17-year-old Chun-Li player out of Hong Kong. But before that, he actually gets sent to losers by HSN. Now, HSN is really interesting because he is a Kimberly player out of Cameroon from Africa. Yeah, that's super rare to see a top-level representative from Africa who ends up coming over to Singapore and doing work, putting Problem X into losers. He ends up going to, to play winners finals against Goichi. So originally, Problem X was seeded to play Goichi in pools, and then here is a round. HSN is working on Goichi on match point here, trying to put HSN into losers. A little bit of a scramble situation, whiffs the throw. Goichi finds the confirmation. Drive reversal on the burnt out. Chun-Li is safe. Purchase at the slide. Air to air. Goichi's trying to shut down the offense. HSN represents a really offensive Kimberly style. Harassing while on burnout, lands the overhead. Plus frames on these interactions, trying to bait out a throw tech right there potentially. Goichi hops out of the situation. Finds the air to air. Teleports away from the Oki situation. Throws him back into the corner. Elbow drop is blocked this time. Goichi takes his turn back. HSN waiting for the response from Goichi. Finds himself back into the corner. They keep side-swapping. Throws him out of the DI. Counter DI would have worked there. HSN defends against the overhead barrage. The air-to-air whiffs, and HSN finds the trip guard punish to take the round. Now, unfortunately for HSN, he does end up losing this round here. But he doesn't end his run there. He does drop to losers in pools. He ends up dropping to losers, taking out a number of strong players, including QQ and Xiri, two of the strongest players out of China before dropping 2-0 to Kakadu. So he ends up getting, I believe, top 64, top 32. So big shout-outs to HSN here for having a really great run out of Cameroon. It just shows that there's a lot of talent all over the world in the world of Street Fighter, including from regions you might not have heard of, including Africa, which doesn't have any CPT representation. So while the World Warrior and the CPT format, I do think, has some issues with the way it distributes spots, it doesn't also distribute these spots all over the world. So we're still seeing some regions left underrepresented. So HSN is making waves. So big shout outs to HSN there. But moving on to top 96, because there's too many killers in pools. We have other highlights to go through. Xian looking really hot this weekend. This is the first round with him up against Yamaguchi, another DJ defector, originally DJ, one of the best DJs in Season 1 of Street Fighter 6. He, I believe, got second in the World Warrior Regional Finals in Japan, losing only to Fuudo. So he was one of the strongest players in Season 1 in Japan. Moved on to Ed. Xian here. About 25% left to his name. Trying to fight back. Defends against Ed's offense. Backs out of this. Finds the confirmation. Low drive meter situation for Xian, though. Empty jump into the jab. Yamaguchi doesn't bite and finds the uppercut. Forces the burnout. Mutual burnout situation. Misses the level 2. That light blitz was a miss level 2. Actually, it's level 2 this time. Xian sways straight through the projectile and then risks it all with the raw level 2, saying, you're going to try to check my sway here and you're going to mistime your button. So this is such a cheeky option here from Xian. The sway is totally fireball invincible, but he used it as just a bait to bait out a button press from Yamaguchi, who mistimes the button and ends up eating that level 2. Xian does go on to win this set and move on through the bracket. And up next here, we have more Ed. Maybe the biggest brain play of the whole tournament. Lashar, who many people consider to be the best player right now in Japan. Lashar from Korea, of course, originally the strongest Chun out of the group of death. One of the most prolific players right now in Street Fighter 6. He ended up moving to Japan to participate in Street Fighter League and has one of the strongest records in the whole league. And many players are saying that Lashar is the guy to beat right now. So he's going up against Chris Wong, who has mostly fully moved on over to Akuma. Chris Wong second at Capcom Cup 2023, losing to Uma. Also participating in the Esports World Cup and other CPT events, still trying to find his way back into Capcom Cup. Originally got second place at CPT Singapore last year. Gachikun was the champion last year. He had to actually run it back and then take CPT France instead in order to earn his qualification. Lashar finds low 4 driver's conversion, pushes him to the corner. On set point, Chris Wong with his winner's bracket left in the line does the reversal ODDP. Demon flip over the flicker, gets the counter hit conversion. Doesn't spend the level 3 there. I find this shocking. I feel like he would have spent level 3 to regain his drive meter and to put Lashar on the verge of burnout, but he has other plans for that instead. Back to neutral. Lashar trying to work his way in. He has level 3 of his own in order to equalize the life. Gets a confirmation. Doesn't cancel to a super. He could have hit confirmed that turret combo into a super level 3. Wake up level 3 from Chris Wong. Arago level 3. That was for sure death if that was blocked. But he has more life as Lashar, and Chris Wong does light kick drive rush cancel, and Lashar in response does light punch DP to level 3. Dear viewer, I must remind you, light punch DP has a 10 frame startup and 0 invincibility. There is almost nothing in this situation that light punch DP would beat. And normally, light punch DP does not even juggle into level 3 unless the opponent is at a certain height from the ground. You get no combo from light punch DP. So, was this just the biggest brain read of all time? Well, if we look at the interaction, what happens here is that Chris Wong does light kick into drive rush cancel into demon flip. Whenever you do a drive rush cancel from a light, you're actually negative. If someone reacts in time, there's nothing you can do to counter their button, at least nothing that's not invincible or doesn't have any kind of utility to move out of the way. If you do light kick drive rush cancel into a jab and the opponent jabs first, you are going to lose. You do not have plus frames from that situation. However, a lot of times in these situations, people like to do supers. So Chris Wong, big brain as he is, thinks, okay, if I do this drive rush cancel, Lashar's going to try to punish me with a super. He tries to do demon flip to go up and over, and Lashar reads that, and instead of doing super on the reaction to that, does DP to juggle him, right? Well, no. Lashar does actually end up admitting on Twitter that this was just an execution error. He meant to do raw level 3 on the drive rush cancel, and this demon flip interaction 100% would go over raw level 3, and he would have been able to punish Lashar. But Lashar messed up, accidentally got a light punch DP, and then just converted it on the fly to the level 3. And here you can see Chris Wong, head in his hands, understands like what the hell just happened. That was ridiculous. And it turns out Lashar did not even mean to do that big brain read. He just ran with the fluke. It was definitely meant to be a level 3. And mind game wise, Chris Wong won that interaction. But input wise, Lashar, sometimes, you know, the inputs have bigger plans for you. Lashar takes that set 2-0 and puts Chris Wong into losers in top 96. Moving on to top 96 as well, we have our lone American representative going up against Goichi, who we saw put HSN into losers in pools. This one is to get into the top 16 winner's side. Final game, final round between these two players. Goichi, a legendary anime player, one of the most legendary, most decorated players of all time, DBFZ EVO champion. Definitely dedicating his talents to Street Fighter 6 these days. Eats the buffer to the super. By the way, look at the admire the technique here. Nephew finds his footsie buffer into the Fuudo release into the level 3. Goichi immediately reaches for the water bottle. This is some Japanese tech I've noticed. They immediately chug the water bottle, get a quick swig of the drink right there, put the drink down, doesn't choke on the liquid in the process while he's in burnout. Is he going to choke in-game? Let's see. Eats the throw. Ship situation incoming. Double jump to bait out the throw take. Goichi doesn't bite until the end. Until the end. There's multiple throw baits in this sequence, and finally he bites on the final one. And Nephew ends up putting Goichi into losers and moves on into top 16 winners side. Not bad for the only American in this Japanese and Chinese and Asian filled bracket of killers. Big plays to Liquid Nephew right there. And maybe he can owe this success to his increased focus on the game, because Nephew recently decided to go full-time. Liquid Nephew, if you did not know, was actually an engineer at Google up until this point. He's in his mid-20s. He's a young guy focusing on his career and his gaming career at the same time. And finally, he decided that this was the time when he wanted to dedicate his all to competing and giving it his best in Street Fighter 6. So he gave up his career at Google during a possible economic recession at this time to focus on competing in Street Fighter 6, and the results have been showing. He got 9th place at EVO. He qualified for Esports World Cup and had a strong run there as well. And he's in winners top 16 of the most stacked CPT Premier we've had so far. So maybe that's the secret. Just quit your job and go full-time gaming, and the results will follow. But moving on, top 96 was absolutely too brutally stacked for me to recap everything here. I'm just going to give you the highlights from the bracket here. Gachikun over Kawano, 2-1 to make top 16. Zhen ends up taking out Oil King and Naomen to make top 16 winners. Xian on an amazing run takes out Yamaguchi, and Yashi playing Honda, who was in top 96 winners. So shout out to Yashi doing that. We saw Lashar over Chris Wong. Down here on the loser side, Oil King cleans up and secures top 16. Chris Wong survives as well. Kawano is down here, takes out Fuudo. Fuudo, who went to losers early because of the weird bracket setup where Zhen and Fuudo played. He went through SKZ, Daigo, and then ends up dropping to Kawano 2-1. Kawano moves on to top 16, and Naomen takes out Mago to secure top 16 as well. In the other half of top 96, DCQ takes out Kakadu and Bonchan back-to-back. Kakadu is actually, I think, the number 1 seed in this tournament. Kakadu has the number 1 amount of points in the Japanese World Warrior at this time. He has 90 points, and the person in second, Shuto, only has 60 points. And beyond that, it's like 55-50. So Kakadu somehow is pulling ahead of the rest of the Japanese player base, but here he drops a DCQ out of China. And then right after that, DCQ takes out Bonchan as well to secure top 16 winners. And there we have Shuto over Hot Dog, like I mentioned, the second place player in Japan right now in the Japanese World Warrior tournaments. Nephew over Goichi. Higuchi over Fenrich. Fenrich using Blanca these days. Higuchi with his Guile. Probably the best Guile on the planet, arguably. We'll see what Du and Kaba have to say about that. Loser side, John Takeuchi takes it over Goichi. Fenrich secures it over Kakadu. So Kakadu, number 1 in the world, potentially, eliminated again. While being the most consistent player in Japan, he still hasn't been able to pull off a major CPT top 8 this year. So we'll have to see what's next for Kakadu. And then on the loser side of things, Ending Walker on an amazing losers bracket run right now. Dropped to losers actually in pools. He ended up losing to John Takeuchi 2-1 in pools. Runs it all the way through losers. Fujimura, Mickey, Bonchan, top 16 losers. Big run to him. And Hot Dog 29 rounds out the losers side of top 16. So moving into top 16, we have the winners quarters finals here. DCQ up against Shuto. Do you recognize this matchup? M. Bison and Akuma might seem familiar. DCQ secures the bomb pickup, plants the bomb once again. Shuto on set point, though. What's he going to do? ODDP with his life on the line. He was absolutely beyond dead if that DP was blocked. But you got to do something. You can't let M. Bison just steamroll all over you in those situations. Wakes up with the button. Drive rush cancel. Gets the back throw. Demon is on the table for Shuto. So any kind of mix can be a 50-50 between Strike and Demon. Playing the footsie game here. Finds the counter hit. Poke with the crouching MK. Gets the full confirmation. And Shuto moves on to winner side top 8 over DCQ. With I guess, a Demon. I don't really count that as a Demon, the hit Demon. It's not the same as doing the command grab Demon. It's slightly different, Justin. Gotta say. But it is nonetheless a Demon of some sort, because here we see Shuto get up on stage, striking the Demon pose to celebrate. This is a callback, if you guys don't know. I mean, besides referencing, of course, Akuma himself, referencing the OG original Akuma here. Tokido, all the way back 13 years ago to SoCal Regionals, Tokido versus Claky D. Tokido coming all the way to America to take our tournaments. Gets the safe jump on the Ibuki. Focus attack on the kunai release to the Demon. And what is he doing? Tokido stands up in front of the projector, strikes the Demon pose, gets the kanji on his back. Just becoming the embodiment of Akuma right there. So Shuto paying respects to the OGs and the greats with that pose as well. But speaking of Akuma, DCQ Akuma, it's a match made in hell for him. DCQ ended up beating Kakadu Akuma. He beat Bonchan Akuma. He ends up losing to Shuto Akuma, drops down to losers, and beats Chris Wong Akuma. DCQ played nothing but Akuma for 4 matches straight. These top-level Asian players do not travel to tournaments without picking top-tier characters. We're seeing Akuma and M. Bison all over the place. and DCQ is fighting the Akuma army from hell in this tournament. Giuna sums it up here. The last 7 matches at the Singapore CPT 2024 Super Premier: Akuma versus Bison, Akuma versus Bison, Ken versus Bison, Akuma versus Kami, Ken versus Jury, Akuma versus Ed, Akuma versus Akuma. These flights are too expensive to be playing low tier. And that's the truth of the matter. I think the meta is moving a lot faster in Asia, especially in regions like Japan with Street Fighter League Japan. They picked the characters to win, man. And Akuma and Bison are definitely up there. They are 2 characters that you want to pick for sure. But another character you might want to pick is, of course, Ed. And we have the original Street Fighter V Ed representative. Now, rocking Ed in Street Fighter 6, we have Ending Walker, showing off his positivity potato that he takes everywhere he goes while competing. He's in Japan. He dropped out of ECT relatively early, dropping to losers before making a run in that tournament. But this time, he's dropping to losers in pools, but he's making a run into the top 16, having a really strong showing for himself. Here he is up against Lashar. And remember, Ending Walker was the one to eliminate Momochi in the Ed mirror in Evo Top 6. Because he was the Ed in Street Fighter 5, kind of taking that title back. Lashar right now, many people are looking to as the Ed in Street Fighter 6. But what does Ending Walker have to say about that? Lashar finds the confirmation into the level 3. Pretty much going to secure a burnout here. It's very hard to survive those interactions. But Ending Walker in burnout, what does he do? Confidently walks into range, secures the easy shimmy, stand heavy punch into the flicker to pop his own level 3, and this is checkmate. There's nothing you can do about this chip. The MK flicker right there secures the chip. Lashar gives his props right there to Ending Walker, and these 2 gentlemen with majestic hair show that maybe the secret is having really long flowing locks to play Ed at the highest level. Ending Walker taking it over Lashar, and what some people would call an upset, but Ending Walker is just showing that he is the best at Ed mirrors in the world right now. Here we have the next set in winner semifinals: Zhen versus Xian. Listen, I'm doing my best to nail these pronunciations here. Zhen from China, Xian, the hometown hero in Singapore, playing the DJ mirror. Zhen does have an M Bison, which he's used for multiple matches up until this point, but he's rocking the mirror in this case. He's up a whole game and around here over Xian. Secures the perfect parry. Level 2. Pops it. Gets to the corner right here. What's the offensive sequence? Gets 1 throw. Xian, how do you respond? Safe jump with the bazooka knee. Another throw. Xian, how do you respond? Another throw. Xian, what are you going to do for your tournament life here? Finds the challenge with the crouching medium punch finally, but burns himself out in the process. This way, he's able to secure the CA. He's regaining some of his drive meter timer, but he's going to be in burnout for much longer. Zhen, life lead being nullified in this moment. Gets caught on the sway. Wake up drive reversal. Negative frames into the OD reversal. Dash up level 1. He whiffs it, but doesn't get punished. This sequence was nuts at the end here. I just want to break it down real quick. This drive reversal, of course, is safe. It's normally -6 on block, but when the opponent is in burnout, it's only -2, so you can't get a punish. He takes this opportunity then to use his last sliver of drive meter to risk the reversal, expecting Xian to try to take his turn back, which he's correct in. Dash up, Xian back rolls. Zhen has 1 bar super meter, which he can use to chip out Xian. DJ's level 1 in this patch was buffed to have a bit more range and have less negative frames on block, and also, I believe, less recovery frames as well. He does dash up level 1, which would essentially just chip out Xian and secure the round. Xian, because he backrolled, was able to squeeze out a backdash to avoid it, but this is only like -11 or something on whiff. It's so hard to get in range to punish. So, right here after this dash, Xian is not plus. He's able to actually press his button first is Zhen and secure that round. So really interesting use of the new buff level 1 from Zhen to have this setup and know that it's essentially safe to throw out, because if you backdash to avoid it, you can't punish me for it. I'm going to be able to take my turn back if you try to approach. So Zhen ends up taking that set in the end over Xian and winner side of top 8 to move on. Here we have loser side. Nephew had actually dropped to losers 2-1 versus Higuchi. His Guile Demons are still coming to haunt him. That is probably what he believes Jury's worst matchup to be, and I think a lot of juries would agree with him. But here he is up against DCQ, who has gone through the Akuma gauntlet only to face the American Jury. He tried both JP and Bison, then back to JP. None of these characters seem to be working out for him. Here he is defending in the corner against Nephew with Jury and level 2. He's getting scooped left and right. No amnesias are landing. Misses the confirm, does Nephew. There's finally an amnesia that connects. Allows DCQ to build a little bit of space here to try to get himself back into the game. Jumps over the OD spikes. Mid-screen shimmy doesn't connect there, but forces the burnout on DCQ. One more interaction will secure it. The low confirm drops, but he gets the chip. And Nephew, dominant 3-0 over DCQ to move on in top 8 loser side. And Nephew is really building a run here. As the sole representative in a stacked tournament in Asia, it's pretty rare for American players to get this far. But Nephew is steadily chugging along and looking stronger as he goes on. As we wrap up this portion of the bracket, Shuto actually ends up beating Higuchi 3-1. Nephew over the DCQ. And Ending Walker, unfortunately, will be meeting his end soon. But Xian versus Nephew up first in this top 8 losers round 2. 2-2 here. This is one of my favorite moments of the tournament. Nephew, after fighting valiantly against Xian, finds himself in a tied position. Xian waking up level 3, going to first force the burnout. And Nephew wakes up with DI against Xian, the hometown hero, after a close set to bring it to 2-2. And Xian ends up being eliminated by a wake-up DI. And this was not a DI that was sneaking and Xian did not have time to counter it. This was a DI that Xian was clearly in a spot with, after pressing 2 buttons into DI, with all the hit stop added from those individual interactions with the DI absorbing the armor there, where he clearly could have countered DI'd and won this game and brought it to a final game, final round scenario. So I'm not sure if Xian was just asleep at the wheel, if he somehow accidentally missed the DI button in the heat of the moment, what happened here. But this was a situation where Nephew just threw a Hail Mary where 99% of the time he expects to lose here. And Xian just somehow doesn't respond appropriately and ends up losing his tournament run. So Xian, he had an amazing tournament run, had a lot of great matches, making it this far into the bracket, but somehow dropped the ball the last second. Maybe it's signs of getting old there. I don't know. Nephew's trying to say, hey, man, you're past your prime. It's my time to shine. And Nephew eliminates Xian. Here we have Higuchi up against Gachikun as well. Another match in the loser side bracket. Now, interesting fact about these two players. It's final game, final round between them, which is a little bit unexpected because Higuchi was actually eliminated by Gachikun at the Esports World Cup top 8. Both players had a really strong performance there, but once it became the final top 8 bracket, it was a first to 5 single elimination bracket, and Gachikun eliminated Higuchi in round 1 of that top 8, 5-1, in kind of boring, dominant fashion. So Higuchi somehow fighting back here, bringing this to a final game, final round scenario, is really a really strong showing for Higuchi, who's been doing really well in Japan right now, having really consistent performances in the World Warrior. So Gachikun uses the OD Fireball to, of course, set up the level 2 here from Rashid. My time to play. Higuchi defends appropriately against the level 2, ends up in an awkward air reset scenario, eats the throw. Meaty pressure is blocked. Higuchi builds space with the OD boom. Gachikun throws the fireball. Higuchi jumps into it. Drive rush, heavy kick towards medium. OD fireball, Arabian sky high cyclone, whatever it's called. And Gachikun ends up taking it in a gnarly conversion in the last moment because you dared to jump over the fireball. You know, at this moment, Rashid can throw either the low arc fireball that you can actually jump over or the high arc to cover the jump angle. Higuchi does not read this appropriately. Gachikun baits him with the high arcing fireball and just a nasty conversion here to close out against Higuchi. So Higuchi, good try. Almost overcame who I think is maybe one of your bracket demons, but Gachikun ends up closing it out instead. And now we have winners finals. And this is a very important matchup because remember, this tournament is a super premiere. In this tournament, 2 players will qualify into the Capcom Cup, not just the winner. So therefore, if you win the winners finals match, you are guaranteed top 2 and you are guaranteed a spot into the Capcom Cup. This is the match that these 2 players showed up for. Shuto, currently ranked number 2 in the World Warrior Japan, and Zhen, seed 89 for some reason I can't understand. Seed 89 in this tournament have fought their way into the winners finals. And What's interesting about these two players is they had a really amazing run. You can see here, Zhen, this is his photo from Start GG, not my photo. I'm just taking what he puts out there. Wins over Fuudo, Oil King, Naoman, and Gachikun, and Xian to get into this position. Shuto takes out John Takeuchi, Hot Dog, DCQ, and Higuchi to get to this position. And now they're going up against each other, but not for the first time. Because Shuto, he was a young player starting out in 2018, which is crazy to say, 6 years ago. So at this time, he would have been around 19, 20 years old. He was playing Urien and was probably the strongest Urien in Japan by the end of Street Fighter V. Yes, even over players like Tokido. So in 2018, he started traveling to events and was actually starting to level up his game and really came into his own only in the final year or so, 2021, 2022 of Street Fighter V. COVID, like for many other players coming into their own during this era, robbed Shuto of the international experience and the ability to compete in a traditional CPT format. But you can see here, he's even winning these CPT World Warriors in Japan at this time. He ends up actually going to the LCQ for the final Capcom Cup for Street Fighter V, where in winners finals, he runs into none other than Zhen. Zhen at this time was completely unknown to the world. In fact, he used to play online with a troll name, Fake Problem X, using M. Bison in Street Fighter V. But Zhen came to this LCQ, beat the real Problem X, ended up winning the LCQ, beating Shuto 3-1, and he goes on to actually dominate in his Capcom Cup brackets to get second place to Meta RD in his first Capcom Cup appearance, first international tournament appearance. Legendary run from Zhen. Somehow 89th seed in this tournament, which doesn't make any sense. So, Shuto has stated that he was extremely disappointed losing to Zhen in this Capcom Cup LCQ. He felt like Zhen was his main roadblock, even though he ended up being eliminated by Kichipa in losers finals 3-2. He felt like Zhen was the guy who denied him his place in Capcom Cup in 2022. Now it's 2024. These guys are going up once again against each other. One of them will secure their spot right now. The other will have to fight through losers finals to then make it in on the loser side to earn the spot. And they are ready to go at it. Zhen versus Shuto. Shuto ends up taking the first game. And in this second game, we have a round apiece. Critical round here. Will it go up 2-0 Shuto, or will Zhen tie it up? Early jump in from Zhen over, or Shuto over Zhen's DJ. Big shimmy confirmation. Spends all the meter. He's going to convert DP into the level 3. He will not be dead. He'll be alive for one more interaction. But you have to guess for your life here. Drive reversal denied. Goes for the level 2 in the negative frames. This time, it doesn't work out. We saw earlier in a set against Xian, he did drive reversal on -2 when Xian was in burnout, and Zhen went for the OD upkick. So he's already demonstrated his willingness to swing for the fences after -2 on drive reversal. Shuto blocks it out and ends up going up 2-0 over Zhen in winners finals. This is first of 3. So what does Zhen do in response? Of course, he brings out the big guns. He swaps to his M. Bison. Now a round apiece. Zhen fighting to stay alive here. Shuto needs one round to secure his Capcom Cup appearance, and he whiffs the DP on the Devil's Reverse. Zhen baits out the uppercut, gets the full punish. Look at the damage he's dishing out. How dare you try to anti-air Lord Bison. Secures that knockdown, drive reversal, or drive rush pickup into the stagger DI. And we have a match. Zhen is on the board 2-1 in this set with Shuto up. Coming into this game, though, Shuto on set point, Capcom Cup qualification point. Zhen with just half a bar dry meter. How does he fight back? Low forward confirm into the post scissor mix. Plants the bomb. Tries to anti-air the neutral jump with the Psycho Crusher, but just whiffs a little bit too short. Maybe a higher strength version might have anti-aired and popped the bomb. But he's in burnout now for his troubles. And Shuto is cranking the pressure. Gets the shimmy. And he gets his revenge 2 years later over Zhen to secure his spot in winners side grand finals of CPT Singapore. But much more than that, secured his spot into the Capcom Cup. There's the pop-off showing the emotion because he knows that he got the prize he was looking for. Qualification into the Capcom Cup. But on the loser side, players are still fighting. there's still one more spot available. And now we have Nephew going up against Gachikun. Now, Nephew actually ended up losing to Big Bird last CPT premiere at ECT in the Jury Rashid matchup. So, what does Nephew bring to the table this time? Well, here we have Gachikun up 2-1. Nephew wins the first game. Gachikun wins 2 in a row. Nephew trying to stay alive and to tie things up. Defending against Gachikun here. Finds a whiff punish on the Sand MK. Finds a low 4. Low drive meter situation here from Gachikun. Converts into the level 2. That takes a bar drive meter. And then combos into the DI to force the burnout. Now, Gachikun, you got to defend. Double overhead is blocked from Gachikun. Good defense. Double overhead blocked again. Mid-screen, walk up, shimmy in your grill. Causes Gachikun to bite. He foregoes a double overhead there to get the immediate throw and then goes for the quick DI after. Gachikun had the super meter to respond, but he just was asleep at the wheel. The mental stack was too high, and this was just... this is what every Jury player is waiting for when they pop this level 2, and then they force the burnout, and you're in the corner. They're just foaming at the mouth to get the mix going. And Nephew cooked up the perfect sequence to steal this round and tie it up 2-2 to fight back to get his way into Capcom Cup potentially. Now we have Nephew at set point after being down, defending in the corner against Gachikun's level 2. Parries out, jumps away from the situation. Proper defense from Nephew, survives the interaction. Pace attacks to go mid-screen, is willing to eat that throw. Playing neutral now, both these opponents. No check on the drive rush from Gachikun. Time for the pressure from Nephew. Controlling the corner. Dry rush under a side swap, but he gets hit low. Throw is teched. Fireball trade. Dry rush conversion, push to the corner. One throw. What do you do? Shimmy. Nephew checks it and jumps out with the jump fierce. Level 3 conversion on the table for Nephew as well. Wait a minute, it's only Gachikun's in the corner. Baits the reversal with it all on the line. Gachikun lets it rip. And Nephew ends up eliminating Gachikun 3-2 to move on to losers finals. Last year's champion will have to try again at the next event in order to secure his Capcom Cup champion qualification. And Nephew, the sole American representative, the man who quit Google to play Street Fighter, is moving deeper and deeper into this bracket and makes it into the losers finals. The most important set of the tournament here for Nephew, because this is the set that will decide if he gets into Capcom Cup from this trip or not. And here we see something pretty interesting. Zhen, 21 years old. He was only 19 when he made that legendary run through the Capcom Cup LCQ to get second place at Capcom Cup. And Nephew, 25 years of age, also a younger player in the scene, but also representing kind of a new generation. Now, both these players had actual interviews about what they thought of their state of play, what they thought about their current placing in Street Fighter. And Z here first talks with Zhen.
Doing so well, you are a very nice player.
About how good he is relative to his representation.
Life is tough being a Street Fighter player because when you're this nice, but still don't get a team.
Life is tough when you're this nice, but you still don't get a team.
Is the biggest free, but not only a free available in the broadest sense.
So I won Capcom Cup LCQ last year, right? And second place at Grand Final. Evo 5th place. Esports World Cup qualified. But, you know, let me know if you are interested in getting a player.
Yeah, he's trying to say, hey man, stop seeding me 89th and get me a sponsor. What the hell is going on here? I won the Capcom Cup LCQ. I got second place at Capcom Cup, 5th place at Evo. I'm Esports World Cup qualified. If you want a player, I'm the guy right here. It's tough being this nice at Street Fighter when no one seems to recognize the skills. But he has more to say about that, about how he's about to get into the winner's mentality.
Musical taste. Give me one track that is going to
put
you
track
into
that's
the
put
winning
him
mood.
in the winning mood? What is it going to be?
The one track. Okay.
What's it going to be?
What's on your heavy rotation? What's good right now?
What's good right now? Okay, let me think. Well, that's gotta be Gatorade by Young Ling.
there you have it. Go download
Gatorade by Young Lean. Listen, it sounds like Zhen is a fan of the classic SoundCloud rap right here. This track is 10 years old, so Zhen would have been 11 when Gatorade by Young Lean actually released. So that might make you feel old. It makes me feel old, but he's appreciating the classics according to him. And Zhen apparently also learned English mostly from listening to hip hop and a lot of SoundCloud's rap style music. So that's what you got to listen to if you want to make it to qualification point here for the Capcom Cup. But who had the better power up here? Was it Zhen with Young Lean Gatorade or Nephew here with Jury?
Can you do something to give your spirit bomb, your energy to Nephew here and give him those plus points and advantage that we need in the next matchup?
Okay, first of all, you have all my support for the whole tournament. Make
Jury
Jury's
support.
players brown. Okay? That be up. Okay.
How about, I heard...
How can you compete with this man? He has Jury's support for the whole tournament, and Jury said, dap me up. Nephew got to dap up Jury in person before this match went down. How could you possibly stop this man? We'll see what the better power-up is. But that's not the only power-up that Nephew has, because while he is a young fella, he is growing in the world of Street Fighter and in age, because he is actually 26 years old. While the player card might have originally said 25, they actually updated it during this set live, because it turns out this is Nephew's birthday. So this whole time, this crazy run he's going on through this bracket to get into the losers finals, where he might actually qualify to Capcom Cup, it's his birthday. And more so than that, he might have another secret weapon up his sleeve, because we were seeing time and time again, anytime he dropped a game, between these games, Nephew was doing something interesting.
And boy, has he not shown any signs of slowing down.
Yeah, he's just reading his notes. Okay, I just have the perfect parry one more time. It's just like perfect
Reading
parry
his
pass
notes
blocks while he's scrolling down.
Nephew, your hand shaking. I can see his left hand shaking. Can no one see it? Can we get a zoom in on Nephew's hand? I saw his left hand shaking.
It is shaking a little bit, but he's just like, block the light, perfect parry. Block the overheads, if he sways.
He was checking the phone between every single game. Maybe checking his notes, or maybe something more. It's hard to tell at this point in time, but either way, these two players begin to give it their all to earn their way back into Capcom Cup, where both players have been before. Nephew, of course, he got top 16 last year in Street Fighter 6. Zhen, second place in the final year in Street Fighter 5. So how does it go down? Well, Zhen ends up taking the first round in pretty dominant fashion. Here we have Nephew trying to fight back. About to lose this round. Finds the perfect parry. Gets the knockdown. Zhen with the Abare wake-up buttons disrespects the pressure. He knows that Nephew's trying to respect the reversal. And just a DI out of nowhere. Maybe that's karma. Maybe that's payback for what he did to Xian. I'm not exactly sure why this DI was even an option from Zhen here on the drive rush medium that usually does not beat any kind of drive rush buttons like that. And Nephew kind of auto-piloted backdash maybe on a shimmy attempt and ate that. So kind of a weird interaction, but ends up giving Zhen the first game in this qualification match. But moving on, we find both these players have a round. Zhen landing his level 3 here. Nephew, low drive meter situation. Secures the button into burnout. And at this point, Zhen notices a situation. 0 super meter for Nephew. In burnout, he can secure a guaranteed drive impact here. Just go for a meaty DI, and it will be guaranteed to stun, stuff any options he might do on wake up, and give Zhen a 2-0 lead in this set. He can also do a button into DI to set up a string to secure it as well. So what does he go for?
Yeah, but it's basically
He whiffs the heavy punch into the DI, and Nephew wakes up grab and ends up punishing his whip heavy punch and getting a back throw. That was a guaranteed win, guaranteed checkmate for Zhen. Fumbled in this moment. Wakes up drive reversal to try to secure the situation. Nephew still in burnout. He can get chipped. Baits out the up kicks with the late dive kick. Baits out the up kicks on wake up again. Somehow they don't autocorrect on the jump heavy punch from Jury. Converts into the level 1 to rebuild his own drive meter and get the corner carry. Gets the pickup on the OD fireball and baits out the reversal, and Zhen fumbles the 2-0 set lead, and Nephew clutches out the comeback with the synchronized water drink at the end there. They're both 2 peas in a pod almost. But somehow, Zhen fumbles that. That was guaranteed checkmate if you just don't mistime the meaty option. There is no counterplay possible for Nephew. But somehow, Nephew capitalizes on the flub and makes the impossible comeback to tie up the set 1-1. Now, a round apiece again. This time, Zhen in the lead once more up against Nephew. Nephew's dive kick gets blocked. This time, Zhen pushes to the corner. But wake up level 3 this time from Nephew. This was a brilliant option for this wake up level 3. Wake up OD would have done the damage, but it would have been death either way. If Zhen blocked the wake up OD DP or the wake up level 3, Nephew lost this round and lost this game. But the wake up level 3 will put Zhen on the verge of burnout with 0 dry meter, and instead let Nephew regain his dry meter instead. So here you can see the dry meter situation is dire now suddenly for Zhen after looking so strong. This sequence is going to force the burnout. He decides to go into burnout by spinning the drive reversal to control neutral, but he gets clipped for his troubles. Pushing to the corner. Zhen has no recourse here. That's checkmate. DJ's level 1 is not invincible. His level 2 is his only counter DI option. So as soon as he was able to secure this knockdown from this position, he was guaranteed to eat a stun at some point into the DI, or the block string into the DI to get the stun. And what was such a strong position for Zhen is completely turned around in a brief moment by a wake-up level 3 because of the resource situation. Another clutch call from Nephew to go up 2-1 in the set over Zhen. And here we have Nephew, a round away from earning his spot into Capcom Cup. Has Zhen in the corner. Fireball on screen. Controls the situation. Approaches. Zhen tries to jump out. Cross cuts on point from Nephew. But Zhen's not afraid. Wake up OD with his tournament life on the line. Nephew trying to defend. Double perfect parry on the fireball, by the way. But Zhen is awake. Air to air. But once again, the up kicks whiff. Just like how Nephew was able to make the comeback at 1-1, the jump heavy punch from Jury causes the sharp angle, or just the empty jump, causes the up kicks to whiff. Zhen accepts his defeat, and Nephew, hand on his head, tells himself he can't believe it. He is qualified for Capcom Cup. What a show of emotion from Nephew. I mean, this is really beyond the pale in terms of seeing emotional responses from Nephew. I mean, just a pure, wow, I can't believe it. I did it. I came to Singapore and I guess I qualified for Capcom Cup. I mean, really, just emotional stuff from the young American who quit his full-time job at Google to earn this moment right here. So big congratulations to Nephew for that moment, but there's still more. While this is mostly a victory lap for these two players, Shuto, 26 years old out of Japan, and Nephew, 26 years old out of USA. This match to me represents a changing of guard to some degree. While in both USA and Japan, traditionally we've had legacy players dominating the competitive scene. We just saw Itabashi Zangief, 43 years old, and Daigo, the only representatives of Japan at ECT, Itabashi Zangief actually qualifying out of that tournament. And traditionally, the Street Fighter world has seen a lot of the players age. It's an esport that's often dominated by players in their 30s and now even in their 40s. And both these players, Shuto and Nephew, while being some of the best in their regions for quite some time, were seen as just that, some of the best. They weren't necessarily seen as the champions, the go-to, the number one representatives from those regions. And while USA still has, of course, their EVO champion Punk, Nephew is looking to join his ranks as well of being one of the elite, and so is Shuto. So they give it their all in this match. But before they do, of course, we see something here.
So on point, even if he loses the first game, whatever he has on that phone of his, whatever notes that he has, it has been working out really, really well for him. Because after every single time he busts out his phone, he just starts winning.
Nephew might have the secret weapon. Every time he busts out his phone, he just starts winning. So maybe even if he goes down this set, he might be able to access his phone and somehow turn it around. Well, how does it go? Both these players fighting valiantly. We have it a 2-2 game situation. Nephew on reset point to reset the bracket to potentially take this whole tournament. Shuto fighting to stop that from happening. Nephew in the corner here. Akuma Juri. Drive rush overhead. Perfect parried. The scaling on this is huge, but Shuto decides, screw it. I'm spending it all. Optimal conversion. Gets into the level 3. Shuto is not messing around. He wants to end this now. So with that meter spent, we're going into a final game, final round situation for this set. Tournament point for Shuto, reset point for Nephew. Bar advantage for Nephew, but he whiffs the heavy punch. Shuto immediately gets the drive rush extension punish. Into the corner is Nephew, 1 throw. Wake up level 3 like against Zhen. This time denied optimal adamant flame punish counter starter. Huge damage on the side of Shuto. Jump into the cross up, blocks the drive reversal, and with the perfect, Shuto takes the set 3-2. And not only did he earn his qualification into Capcom Cup, he secured his spot as the best player in the venue in that tournament with some of the most stacked competition from all over the world. And with that, both Shuto and Nephew, the next generation of champions, have earned their qualification into Capcom Cup. So congratulations to both of them. Here's Shuto, what he had to say after the event. We won the Singapore Super Premiere. I was always checking everyone's supportive comments, and they really cheered me up. Thank you for your support. I am the strongest today. Something he's been waiting for 6 years to be able to say. And as for Nephew, second at Singapore Super Premiere. Holy crap. Thank you to Team Liquid for sending me to all these tournaments and letting me compete, and Punk to God for all the advice. See everyone at Capcom Cup next year. Turns out, all along, Nephew's secret weapon was friendship. Punk to God was communicating with him the whole time between games, staying up all night through the opposite end of the world, complete flip time zone, in order to coach Nephew and help get him to this position to help his friend secure his spot at Capcom Cup. And that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching these CPT recaps. I really hope you enjoy it. I don't always deliver my best performance on these, but a lot of work, research, time, and effort goes into producing these. So the fact that you guys even watch and enjoy them is what really motivates me. So I want to say just thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.